Hi, I hope you are doing good. In last session, these are the topics which we have covered. Today's session, we will see these topics. We will see what is custom authentication extension, as well as we will see what is Azure function and how to deploy Azure function. So let's continue. Let's see what is the custom authentication extension. Basically, it is a way to plug in your own logic during the authentication process. It allows you to customize how users sign in, sign up, or verify their identity. Basically, custom authentication is a part of Entra External ID. It lets you connect your own API or logic. These are the real life examples, and here is how it works. First of all, user start signing or start trying to sign up. Then extension calls an API endpoint or Azure function which we will implement. Our extension performs some logic and returns a response. Then Entra ID reads the result and contribute or blocks the flow. Here is a technical detail. We will deploy Azure function. Basically, it requires a endpoint that we could configure in a Entra external ID. It is totally up to you. You could use uh, Azure App Service, or you can deploy to any other server like or cloud, AWS or Google Cloud. You can deploy there. But the structure of the data that your endpoint will return would be the same that our Azure function will have. We will see in this video how we will create. We will call this Azure function within extension that we will create. Now let's see why we use it. Because built-in user flow are limited. The user flow that we have created in last sessions, they are limited. Custom extension give you full control over the user journey, especially in enterprise or regulator regulated environments where identity verification and data enrichment are critical. Uh, there are four types of events that custom extension provides. We will see this soon in this video as well. These are the events. Token assurance, basically it modify the claims of the token after getting from the Azure function. Let's say we have a role, a user role which is saved, user role and its permission which is saved to the external on-premises database. What we will do, we will create a Azure function. We will get the role and user permission from on-premises database using the ID of uh, Entra external user ID, which we will pass to a Azure function, and then we will return the user role as well as its permission to Entra ID, a custom authentication event which is would be token assurance start, and then this event would enrich token with a user role as well as its permissions. So yeah, the next one is email OTP send. This is used to when we sign up. In last session we checked that when we sign up we get a OTP request, right? Using this we could customize the layout of our uh, email that we receive. Uh, we can customize the logic as well. Attribute collection. A setup launches a page, collects custom attribute from the user, gather additional profile information. Let's say it is used when our sign up page is load. We want to uh, pre-populate some data, right? Let's say we want to populate the user, we want to only have a uh, user from two countries, right? So we will already populate the data of the country where a user can get created, right? So we could use attribute collection start event to pre-populate data. Here are the example where we use cases, profile update flows, pre-fill form with non-user data, as I have already explained, right? Attribute collection submit. This event is used when we submit a data and we want to make sure that uh, the data is valid, or we want to make sure that uh, let's say we add a SSN number in a sign up form, and when user sign up and submit, we want to make sure that SSN is valid, and we can make a external call, right, to external API that will check that SSN is valid and will return. If that SSN will be valid, we will allow user to submit form. Otherwise, we will show error that SSN is invalid. Or not in only SSN, we can check any other field that we want to make sure that user is user insert the valid value, right? Typical user flow example. This is how these events get executed. First of all, this event execute, then this one, and then the last one. Now let's see what we will implement throughout this course. First of all, we will create an endpoint using Azure function. Then we will deploy Azure function. Then we will create a token assurance start event, and we will enrich claims in a token. We will create a custom authentication token assurance start event, and yeah, this is all that we will implement in this session. Here is one more thing. You may have queried that when we were checking token assurance start event, here we have mentioned modify or enrich token claims, right? You may have a query that we did the same thing in on token validate in last session, right? So let me clear this point. Let me show you a image. Okay, so you can see this image. This is a diagram how external ID will use to work with multiple apps, right? In case of on token validate, when you extend claims using on token validate, those claims would be available only for one app. Let's say only for Step Up your staging app, right? Those claims would not be available in other apps like Step Up your web or API, right? Let's say we have a case in which we have a three apps. These are the three apps, Entra External ID apps, which are using our same tenant directory. As we are showing here, we have a Entra External ID, and we have a two web apps. One is step up your staging, another is step up your web, and this is a API. So whenever a user will log into any of these two sites, he will have a token, right? Uh, that he can send to API, right? And then he can communicate with the API. In that token, we want to have external claims, right? In start, we talk about the case where user want to have a user role and user permission in token, right? Let's say in that case, what we will do, we will configure custom authentication extension on token start insurance event in external ID, right? So after that, whenever any of the app will log in, they will get a token with a claims, right? And when they will pass that token to API, those claims would be available into API as well. So when another app will try to access that token, so it will be automatically login using single sign-on, right? So it will share the token, it will get the token as well. In that token, it will also have the same claims. So in this kind of architecture, when there are more than one app involved, like in case of microservices architecture, right? Then we try to add external claims inside external ID, right? When we do have only one app, let's say when we were working on token validate, we only had step up your web, right? So in that case, we were extended claims within app, right? But now we would extend claim on the level of Entra External ID. Entra External ID, and in future, in next session, we will add a API app as well, and we'll see how can we get token and pass to API and how API will return. We will configure this as well in next session. For this session, let's continue configuring custom claim authentication in external ID. So to do that, first of all, here are the steps. We will create an endpoint using Azure Function. Let's create Azure Function first of all. Let's go to the project. Let's add a new project. Azure Function, let's say task management view and feed functions. Keep this as it is. Create. Okay, so here we have a function. We have created a project, a your function project. Let me quickly run and show you what it returns. Okay, here it is running. Let's quickly check it. Oops, sorry. Not this one. Okay, so to run this, we need to make it startup project. Let's set as a startup project now. Let's run it. Click on allow access, and this is the endpoint where our function is running. Let's test it quickly. Okay, so you could see that this is our function is returning. Now let me quickly create a on token start function, assurance function. Uh, Let me add new Azure function. Let me give it a name. On token assurance start. Let's add it. Should be HTTP trigger function. Let's add. I am going to migrate some of the code here. Let's give it a name of on token start. Okay, let's rebuild it. Let's delete this one. Okay, so you could see that this function have a request. In this request, we get user ID and user email. And these are the claims that we will add into our token. You could see the other code. I will add this code into the branch of this session and add that branch, that the link of that branch into the description. You can find the code in from that branch. Let's run it and see. Okay, so this is what we will add into our token claims, right? Let's just simply deploy this function. Here we are telling that we need to add into on token assurance start event And here are the other necessary configuration which are required to add these claims into custom claims extension. Publish. You need to sync your account with Visual Studio. My account is synced with Visual Studio. That's why I do have the subscription that I do have in my Azure portal. Let me select the crawler group. The group Azure group. Let me select next. Finish. And this is here I have created my profile. Now if I will click on publish using profile, it will be deployed to this Azure app, Azure Function app. I have already published this. Let me show you. Now if I will click on publish, it will be published to Azure Function. This is the Function app where I have created. You can create Function app, Windows Function app from Visual Studio as well when you publish. And here we have Azure Functions. Okay, so these are the two functions that I had already deployed. Let me show you this. This is the one which we have here. Let me quickly show you. Okay, so this is the function. Okay, so this is not the function that we have deployed. Let's get back to function app. Okay, so this one is the function that we have deployed, right? So let's check it quickly. Mm, Let's copy the function URL. Okay, so function is deployed successfully. Now let's go to the next step. Okay, we have deployed, we have created as well as we have deployed Azure function, and we have Azure function endpoint as well. Now let's create token issuance start event. Here is a point where you would see the type of events which you want to create. So let's simply go to apps. Let's go to user flows, mm, external identities. Here you do have custom authentication extensions. When you will click on create extension function app, you could see that these are the events: token insurance start, email OTP, attribute collection start, and submit. These are the events which you could create from here, right? But we want to create token insurance start. Let's click on next. Let's give a name, step up yar custom auth event. Now this event will communicate with our Azure function which we have deployed. Let's paste the URL here and let's click on next. Click on create new app registration. Next, and here we will define the name of claims which we want to extend, which this function is returning. Let's add claims name which we want to extend. Date of birth, API version, custom roles, and permissions. Let's not have permissions. Simply do this. Next, let's add the same name, app name, and click on next, next, okay. Now create. Click on grant permissions, and here you need to provide permissions to access your function and extend claims. Correct. Let's do one thing because these are in capital. Let's change it to capital. Date of birth, API version, and custom roles. Okay, let's save it. Now before configuring it into our step up your web, let's see right now when we get a token from external ID, what claim we do have. We have not configured in our step up your web app so far. So let's simply go to external identities. Let's go to user flows. Click on the user flow that we have created in our last session. In our user flow session, let's click on run user flow. This is the web, this is the app, and here we will get the claims. Okay, so you could see that in these claims we do not have correlation ID, date of birth, API version so far, right? we need to add these claims into this uh, into token, right? You remember in last session, in custom attribute session, we had added a custom attribute and added that custom attribute into claims or into token. We need to do same kind of procedure again to add this. Let me show that how can we add. Just go to the app registration. In app registration, search your app, click on the app, make sure that we have added custom authentication extension. Now in manifest, make sure that accepted mapped claim attribute is true. You could see that it is true because in our custom attribute session we change from null to true, right? That's why it is already true. So we need to do the same configuration to for custom authentication extension as well, right? And set the value to true, and similarly we need to set requested access token this value to true, right? Now let's go to the overview. We need to do the same procedure that we did in custom attribute session. Sign on, sign in on, click on edit, add new claims. Remember in custom extension, we had first of all we selected claims from directory from extension app, but in this case we will not do the same. We will what we will do in this session, we will, instead of getting claims from a custom claim from directory custom extension, what we will do, we will configure custom authentication claims, right? Click on attribute, edit, click on advanced setting, click on configure, and here you will have the custom authentication extension which you just configure. So here is the custom authentication event on token insurance event which we just created. Click on save. Okay, it is saved. Now let's click on add new claims. Now when you could see that this time we do have these claims: API version, correlation ID, custom roles, date of birth. Simply give it a name, API VERSIUN version, and save. Add new claim, correlation ID, CORRELATION ID, and click on save. Add new claims, custom roles, CUSTUM roles, and save. Add new claims, and the last one which is date of birth. Date of birth, birth. Now just simply save it. Okay, let's see what is the next step. Okay, so we have configured claim in our step up your web app. Now let's test this app. We are getting these claims. Go to external identities, user flows. Let's click on our user flow. Click on run user flow. Here we need to select the app where we have configured our custom authentication extension claims. Let's click on run user flow and see this time we get the external claims. Okay, here we go. You could see that we have API version, correlation, ID, custom, and date of birth, right? But when first time we test, we do not had these claims, right? But now we have these claims. So yeah, this is how we can configure external claims. If we do want to get claims from our database, this is how we can configure. Here, uh, yes, if we want to get from database here, we can make a DB request, claim from database. We can get claim from database or data from database, and then we can add into claims, right? Let me show you my another project in which I had integrated get claim from database. Let me show you. So here I am getting ID, email, display name, created date time from request, and from here I am getting permission from database, user permissions. You could see that query from database, right? And when I have permissions, I am adding those permissions into this object. Here, let me show you default behavior claims dot user role, right? Here, insert in user table. So here you could see that I am adding claims into our object in which our default continue with default behavior object, right? uh, After adding all the claims after getting from database, I am simply returning as I am doing here in our example which I just show you in this session. So in our implementation that we have implemented in this session, instead of doing this, you can get claim from database or any external CRM or any external API, and then you can simply add claims into this claims object, right? You can add here as much as you want to add, right? And then after adding into claims object, you can simply return. The rest of the structure must be same. right? Okay, so this was the today's session. This is what we have implemented in today's session. I will add all the code into branch and will add that branch URL into description, and you can find that branch in which you will have all this code for Azure function. And by using this session, you can practice, you can extend claims using custom authentication extension. So let me know if you do have any query or any question. I am here to respond. Thank you.